Welcome to Navigating Your 20s. I'm your host, Jess Hugo, and I am so excited to have you here. I'm an online personal trainer and nutritionist, but honestly, underneath it all, I am just a girl who is struggling, thriving, and surviving somehow all at once. So if this is you, you are not alone. If you want all the juicy tea on what it's like to be a girl navigating her 20s, I'm talking relationships, health, fitness, social life, work, and everything in between, then you're in the right place.
Hello queens, and welcome back. Oh my gosh, something popped up for me this week that I just was like, okay, I need to talk about this. So the fucking storms, by the time that you're listening to this, they're gonna have passed, but this is all still valid and true. I need to give a bit of a story time. So wild fucking storm on a Wednesday night. It's actually crazy because I normally train clients until 7:30, but that day I could fit one of my clients earlier, so we swapped her time and she did 5:30 to 6:30. Thank God that we swapped that, because by 7 o'clock, torrential rain, the power was out, shit was hitting the fucking fan. Now, if you live in a little suburban area, you're probably like, what is she talking about? Oh my gosh, picture this. You kind of live on like an acreage block in the middle of nowhere, big bush vibes, like no footpaths in your street. And then a storm happens. So naturally, trees fall down, they pull the freaking power lines down, and it's a whole thing. This normally happens, I want to say, every 3-ish years, and it's always pretty bad. At one point, we didn't have power for like a week and a half. And what are you supposed to do with no power? I was spiraling, obviously. And then I was like, okay, girl, you need a reality check, because you should not be this stressed about not having some fucking power, babe. Like, come off it. So, still on the context train, but this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about my self-care routine, my mental health, and just prioritizing it and dealing with like when shit hits the fan, because I think that this past week really tested me. So yeah, we ran out of power at about 7 o'clock, and I was like, oh, thank God my client has gone and she's going to get like home safe, because that would be so stressful if she was there when the power went out and all the things in the middle of her session and blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I haven't even showered or nothing. I'm going to go quickly run and shower before it gets too dark, because right now the sun's setting at like 8-ish, 8:30 depending, but it was not a sunny day, so it was already dark, and I was like literally showering with flash, and I was like, oh my gosh. Also, I know how privileged I am to be able to complain about these things as well. Like, I would think I was thinking across all those 4 days without power, like back in the day, they didn't have this type of capacity and access to the things we have access to. So I did try to be like really thinking of those things, and I understand that, but I'm here to complain because we've all been there. So yeah, I quickly ran, showered in the dark, and was like, oh fuck, like, I was really looking forward to, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted that I was so excited to eat my Ninja Creamy, and I was like craving it at 2 p.m, but I knew that I should just like wait a little bit and have it for dessert, and I had clients and stuff, so I knew I was going to have it at around like, I don't know, 7:30 depending, whatever. And I was so excited for it. I was waiting for dinner, and then the power went out. And I was like, I didn't even get my bloody creamy. Now she's going soft in the freezer. Anyway, to kind of recap the outcome of it, not only did a tree fell down on the power lines, which fried off this like pole of ours, like an Osgrid post pole, which fell on a car and like rode off the car, and all the wires were all in front of our driveway, like kind of blocking one of our driveways in. And I was like, oh, like the chaos. So the fact it got fixed in 4 days is actually wild to me. I thought it was going to take way longer. As I said before, we've waited much longer without it, but that meant the Wi-Fi went to shit. We had no power, and it was like the Stone Ages. It's actually funny because like older people get mad when we complain, girls in their 20s complain about things, but also now everything is fully digital, Wi-Fi, everything. So you don't get access to anything. And then because of everyone struggling with the power and the wires being down and stuff, the service was fucking terrible. So the Wi-Fi was like barely there, non-existent, phone wouldn't work. My phone would only work if I like walked up the driveway, and then it was torrential raining. So you couldn't even just like go enjoy being outside. So I was like really stressing, because obviously I run a business from my house online And like now my house wasn't accessible and I didn't have access to online really. And like, to be honest, I'm a very organized person, so I knew my clients would be fine. They had everything they needed to have, but I had shit to do in the back end of working on my business. And I was like, I had it all scheduled out, and then my to-do list was just getting further and further away from me because I couldn't even get my laptop working. And I was like, this is fucking terrible timing because I'm trying to, you know, get my episodes up for the podcast, which no one knows about yet. So I can't even openly complain about it, but I can complain about it now because it's after the fact. And I had new girls signing up, starting on Monday, waiting to hear from me. And I was like stressing, obviously, because I hold myself to a higher standard, which again, it's out of my control, which I really needed to like tap into. On top of all of this, I'm in a bit of a deficit at the moment. Just, you know, a little push myself moment. It's only been a couple weeks and I was like, fuck, now I have like no access to anything like toaster, freezer, fridge, whatever. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to stay in my calorie deficit on top of all of it? So I was stressing about work, I was stressing about my deficit, and I was just so stressed about everything. And I was like, okay, seriously, it is not that deep. Like, I had to call myself out and say, it is not that deep. Yes, I might not be able to be perfect on my deficit, but it doesn't mean I need to go to McDonald's and like ruin it by eating the whole entire fucking menu. Or, by the way, I'm not saying you can't have McDonald's in a deficit. I just like knew that if I went there, it just wouldn't align and things like that. I think if you know me well enough, you would know my stance on that. I am very flexible dieting, but that's not what I'm talking about today. So I was like, okay, like rain check on this fucking energy about work. Work can get done later. Okay, let's have a little like moment to ourselves and think, why are you getting so stressed out? Like, I was getting so stressed out because I was having like inquiries come through and stuff like that, and I couldn't respond to them. And I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, what's more important right now is helping clean up and, you know, make sure the power gets back on and all of the things. Like, it's not that deep. And I think the reason I was getting extra stressed was because I was like, what am I supposed to do with myself? Low key, I was like, I have no idea what to do with myself because my phone won't work, my laptop won't work. It's raining, so I can't go outside. Like, what am I actually supposed to do with myself? And then I kind of came to the realization that I should know what to do with myself. I should not be such a loser that I'm on my phone so much and I can't just like think outside the box. What pissed me off though is I really wish I had the coloring book and pens, but they've been sold out literally everywhere, so I couldn't even do that. But I was like, oh, I don't want to go to the shops. It's like torrential raining and like we can't even get out of one of our driveways and stuff. So like, I just don't think now is the time to be out shopping, and I don't even need anything. You know, when you just go to the shops to waste time, then you just like waste money on random shit that you don't even need, and you're just like eating out and it's not even that good and it's like not even worth it, and you're like, where did all my money go? And it was like the fucking shops on the weekend. Yeah, story of my life. So I was like a little bit embarrassed of myself. I was like, why do I not know what to do with myself? Why am I so reliant on my phone and needing to check what everyone else is doing? Which it's not really that. I don't actually really care specifically about what other people are doing, but I love a little bit of entertainment on TikTok. I love getting in a little bit of a scroll hole when I'm bored. And I was like, no, I can find other ways to, you know, do things. When I think back on like that time, I could have like rearranged my wardrobe. I could have like got rid of and donated, not yet, but like got a pile together to donate some clothes. I could have organized my drawers and refolded things because I know they're a mess. Right now, as I'm filming this, I'm staring at my Bolche chair. If you know, you know, the cover of this photo, and there's fucking 20 billion pieces of clothing on it. Girl, what the hell? Hang them up, put them away. Like, there was so many different things I could have done, which I didn't do. So I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm addicted to my phone. Like, I'm addicted to my phone. I'm so reliant on it and I need to be touching base with everyone and I don't. And it's making me feel more stressed, more worried. And I needed to just take a step back because I was like, this is like affecting my mental health. I'm getting so anxious and so stressed. But in reality, there's nothing I can do about it. So it was like 1 or 2 days into the no power. And I was like, okay, this is enough, because I felt like mentally drained because I was stressing so much. And I was like, I literally just need to say, I can't do anything about it and just let it be, because I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. And I think this goes with so many things in life. There's so many things that are out of our control, and we actually sometimes have to take a step back and like put our hands up and like surrender to it and just be like, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it, because I felt terrible because I was so stressed. Like, I felt so drained and so exhausted because I was stressing about work and my to-do list and this and that. And I was like, it's not even important right now. It is not the number one thing. And I need to fucking relax because it's making me feel worse. And it's like, yeah, affecting my mental health. I was feeling so drained, so exhausted. And I was like, okay, like, what can I actually do in this situation? So I started to think about things that I was missing in life. One, I didn't have any self-care across those 2 days so far. So we're like in the midst of it. It was like 4 days total. This was like a day 2, day 3 reflection. I wasn't practicing any self-care. I wasn't practicing and prioritizing a sleep schedule, and I was so exhausted because when the power originally went out, I went to bed at like 11:30, 12 that night or something like that, and just with everything like going up and down, it was so hot because it was like humid. There was mozzies everywhere. I was getting fucking attacked and I could not sleep because it was so hot, and it was just all these things. So I was like, okay, I know my sleep shit. I know I'm feeling stressed. I know I'm not like scheduling in and prioritizing self-care. So I really sat down with myself because I was like, I already knew I was like on the edge of like burnout a little bit because I have been grinding lately, guys. You don't even know the half of it. I'll share more in time, but I've been grinding, and I was like, okay, this is like it's like the universe gave me an opportunity to kind of step back with like no pressure. There was pressure, of course, because there was heaps of people that weren't being affected by the storm and was kind of like, girl, what you doing? And I was like, I promise, like I'm going to respond to you. Just give me a hot minute because my phone is not fucking working. It was taking like 50 minutes to send one message. So, and imagine how frustrating that is when you just have no power, your phone battery is going down because you're just sitting there waiting for your message to send. And I was like, no, enough's enough. Put your fucking phone down, walk away. So I put my phone down, walked away, and I was like, okay, what's actually going to make me feel good right now? So let's talk my current self-care routine. Reading, bitch. We have not talked enough about this yet. You guys don't even know, but I love reading. This year, my reading goal is 70 books. I think I read 63 last year, maybe 50 something the year before. So I always try to increase and push myself that little bit further with the books. I am a Kindle girly. I fucking love reading. I track all my books on Storygraph as well. If you don't know what it is, it's basically similar to Goodreads, but I actually don't use Goodreads, which kind of kicks me in the butt a little bit because it's like connected with Kindle and Amazon and things like that. But I have Storygraph and I love it. Like, I am a thriller girly. I used to, when I first started reading, I was like into romance and things like that a little bit. Like I thought I was because that's kind of like what was trending at the time. Like Colin Hoover was trending. I guess Frida McFadden was, but I didn't really know much about her. But also like Emily Henry and a couple others. I can't even think of who right now because I actually don't like romance. So that's where I started. I started with Colin Hoover and things, which we all did. And then I kind of naturally found that I really like thrillers and contemporary books. So I want to list through right now some of my 5-star reads of 2024. And if you're thinking this is so weird, I thought you were going to talk about self-care. It's because I actually have made reading like a hobby that is like enjoyable. Like I love tracking it in the data. I love writing. I write my own reviews on the books, not for anyone else but myself. I found that like whenever my friends would like ask me if I liked a book or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I can't even remember because like you read so much and only really good ones will stick in your brain, especially with everything going on in your life. And sometimes I'd be like, fuck, what was my thoughts and opinions on that again? So I started writing my reviews, like typing them in 2024. So I'm going to talk through some of my 5-star reads. I actually only had a few. Okay. Firstly, okay. I just realized that it's not in order of the years. It's just got all my 5-star reads. So I have 21 5-star reads. I think that these were this year. Okay. Firstly is The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. That was actually wild and I do remember it and it did stick with me. Oh, I didn't write a review for her. So that must have been 2023. Apologies. Okay. 2024. I did do this one. Okay. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. So good. Fast-paced and not predictable. Loved the twists and turns and thought it was refreshingly different. Who is she? I can't believe I wrote that. So that's considered like a fiction mystery thriller. So that is my jam. I love them because with romance, like I'm not knocking romance and I know everyone's into different things, but I get a bit like bored because the storylines are quite similar and it doesn't make me want to keep reading. Whereas with thrillers, I'm like there. I'm like in it. I'm like, what's happening? My mind is jumping all over the place. I'm trying to like guess what's happening. It's gripping me. I'm tapping my Kindle, tap, 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 page after page after page because I'm so invested and interested in it. So I fully love her. Lisa Jewell is great and that was a great book. I highly recommend. But I know that I have some like contemporary romance in here. I have Me Before You by Jojo, I think her name's Jojo Moyes? I'm not sure. That was good too, considering it was a contemporary romance. So yeah, I'm on the edge. I'm going to name some others. Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Good Material by Dolly Alderton, I think her name is. Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo again. Wow, I actually gave a few. All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. I can't even remember that now. See what I mean? What did I write? Oh, come on, I put barely anything. Didn't predict the outcome in the way I thought I would and couldn't put it down. Okay, bestie, you could have given us a little more. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston and Margot's Got Money Troubles. I loved Margot's Got Money Troubles, and that's a fiction contemporary. So I love contemporary and I love thriller, and it just gets me in. So I was like, okay, because I was struggling to pick up a book for the first 2 days of the No Power, and I was like, what is wrong with me? And then I realized it's because my brain was so scattered. So I was like, okay, take a moment, like sit down with the book, get into it. First time I tried that, I fell asleep. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, because I was so tired, but I was like, this is not actually doing anything for me. Like, I need to sit down with myself and like crack on with this book. But firstly, an everything shower. Warm shower, wash your hair, shave your legs, just getting in the moment. I always love washing my hair and then air wrapping it. It's like my hair is like very, let's envision her for a moment, because it doesn't look like this with how I wear it and stuff like that, and you wouldn't know, but my hair's very like frizzy, very like thick and like puffy. And it's just, the reason I have it tied up 9 times out of 10 is because it sucks. Like, there's so many girls out there who look so effortlessly flawless when they wear their hair out. If I wear my hair out, it's like, it's just not going to end well. It's going to be so puffy. It's going to be like on my face. I'm going to get frustrated by it. It like honestly overstimulates me. So I can't, that's not self-care. So I have to air wrap it every time I wash it. So everything shower, air wrap your hair or dry your hair with whatever you use. I dry it on the air wrap and then I like curl it, and I just do like loose curls, and it honestly lasts all week. I don't use any products and it's so good. There's always so much air wrap slander. I honestly feel like I'd use it literally once and the curls stay. But right now my hair is growing out a bit, so I feel like you need like a bit of a fresh cut. But anyway, that's like such a side note. Face masks. I love the under eye like ones for puffy under eyes or like sore. I get sore under eyes all the time. Or I get, what are they called? I literally woke up with one this morning, a sty. I always get styes under my eyes. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. So face masks, not the full ones, not the full face ones. I feel like they just irritate our skin, let's be real. But the under eye ones, love. Fresh Peter Alexander pajamas. They don't have to be Peter Alexander, but I have these really cute Cavoodle ones that I got on the like Boxing Day sale, because that is the only time and best time to shop at Peter Alexander, and I'm obsessed. You guys know I have Lexi the Cavoodle. I love her, and I have fresh PJs that literally look exactly like her, to the point that someone asked me once if they were custom made with her face on it, and I was like, no. But that's so funny that they thought that. Anyways, fresh PJs with a homemade snack or some sort of baking. I almost did go into some baking and things like that because we had our generator on, but I didn't want to like use all of the generator, like petrol to like cook. If you don't know what a generator is, it's basically like petrol based power. So I didn't want to waste all the power on like cooking, but really wanted to make like a homemade snack or bake some cookies for my Brookie cookbook, because I've only used it once, and I was like, oh, like should I make like a oh my god, what the hell, a flourless cake? That was like a mumbo jumbo. That was so hard to say, or something like that. But I didn't want to like ruin it, so I just was like looking for little snacks in the cupboard, some little chockies, little self-care moment. Have you guys seen my Kindle stand? Oh my gosh, my Kindle stand has a place for snacks. It's like a fluffy pink pillow with a stand. I have my clickers and it has a place for snacks. So I needed snacks to go in there. Candles on. Grab out your dusk candles. Grab out your glasshouse candles. Candles on. Set the mood. Curtains drawn, bitch. So you got to set the scene. I felt like the only way to calm down my mind was to like close the blinds, put the candles on, and like relax. So that was what I did. But then also you have to get cozy. Fluffy doona, fluffy blanket. I have a doona on right now from Adairs, and it is the best thing ever. It's so fluffy, so nice. It's like a little cocoon. I can't. I love it so much. So fluffy doona, fluffy blanket, whatever you have, and then make it cozier one step further, heat pack. So it was like 19 degrees and raining. So heat pack was essential. The power thing, I know, but like heat pack, gosh. And then when I don't have a heat pack, you know who I use? Lexi my cavoodle. This morning, worst period cramps in my life. Who was there to save the day? Lexi. I forced her to sit on my lap. I was like, you're like my human, she's not human, but you're like my human heat pack. Literally, why else do you need a dog? That's the only reason, because they're like your little heat packs. So something I really had to lean into in this time was kind of like recharging without guilt. I knew it was an opportunity to kind of have a moment to just take a little step back and read my book and things like that. But I know sometimes that when we start doing those things and prioritizing ourselves, we can feel a little guilty. And whether you are in my situation where you work for yourself, so it's really dependent on you, or you have a very important role at work, or your boss relies on you really heavily, it's still really valid. We feel really guilty about not showing up or not being available or whatever. It's like when you call in sick and you're like, your heart is racing about calling in sick because you're so stressed and nervous about what they're going to say. I completely feel you, and I want you to take a moment to actually spend some time in prioritizing yourself, because what is the point of you going full steam ahead and burning out? Because you just know you're not going to be your best self with burnout. So breaking up with the burnout and taking some moment to recharge, create a self-care routine, and just go all in. And if you're like, okay, but I hate reading, I can't concentrate on reading or whatever, do the drawing thing. So the cozy books right now, they are so cute. People are going like so ham on them though. I am a terrible drawer, coloring girl. I don't know. I suck at that shit, but it sounds like really fun. If you are someone that can't stick to a hobby, don't draw. I feel like that would be like a big commitment right now. But even if you're prepped in advance, you could, like for me with the no power, but you can just go and get like drawing apps on your like phone or iPad if you have one or whatever. Or if I was like really prepped, if I knew the storm was coming and if I knew the power pole was going to fall down, I could have like downloaded things on Netflix and stuff. I think there's always a lot of like hate towards watching TV. Watching TV is self-care. It's a time for you to get off your phone, just dial into whatever you're like watching, be curious and ask questions. Like I love watching TV with my partner. We do no phones and we just talk about it and ask questions to each other and like make theories up and whatever. And it's like fun. Like I hate when he fucking tries to spoil it. That's annoying. But like I'll be like, oh, what do you think what's going to happen? Like any theories, like when it's psychological, or like right now we've just not been watching, but watching like in the background type thing, the Mr. Beast challenge. And I'm like, he's like, who do you think is going to win? Like, you know, just things like that. And I like, there's so much hate online. Like, oh my God, why are you on, like, why are you watching TV? Get outside, whatever the fuck. No, self-care is doing something that gets you out of whatever you're doing. So if you're someone that works in social media, or you like do the social media for like a brand or something, and it's like, that's always on your phone. And I think a lot of people kind of glamorize that. They're like, okay, like my job is social media, so I get paid to scroll TikTok or whatever. Yeah, then that takes all the fun out of TikTok. Then that takes all the fun out of being on your phone, and you almost like resent your phone and don't want to be on it because like it's just, it feels like a job and it feels like a chore, and you just don't get that entertainment side out of things anymore, especially because the algorithm is like trained to what it is. So for me, I talk about like weight loss and fitness and things like that. So then my whole feed will be weight loss and fitness, and it's like you're working 24/7 when you look at that stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to look at it. So I never interact with it, but then I post it, which probably does a disservice to me and probably doesn't push me to the right people. But I also don't need to be educated by other people on TikTok either. So it's like a catch-22. And so I know I need to use that as an entertainment like platform, or get off it and do something else, because self-care isn't like being in work mind 24/7. And I know there's a lot of controversy around this, because a lot of people say like, oh, you know, influencing and things like that, like you're working all the time. I'm not an influencer, but I do work online. So I do feel if I'm on my phone seeing things, like seeing client messages, like viewing stories, whatever, it can feel like work. And the only way for me to escape that is to put my phone down, which sometimes we really just need to. And I think I kind of came to that realization with the storm. I was like, I need to stop. I need to put my phone down, and I need to prioritize my mental health and take a step back, because I can still stay on top of my job and my goals and all of the things without being on every single day. I don't need to be on. Something I actually wanted to talk about as well is, I know I briefly mentioned at the start my deficit, and like I felt initially a little bit stressed about that because I've only been in it for a few weeks. The like progress hasn't shown yet, because it doesn't take one day or 1 week or 2 weeks to build a habit and see results. It takes multiple months. So I was like, I'm so early in, I don't want to stuff everything up, which I'm not. Like, let's be real, I wasn't going to, but I could have easily thrown in the towel. I could have easily like just given in and gone and got whatever was open, Macca's, KFC, got a whole meal and just felt like shit, bed rotted. I still managed to get 14,000 steps despite the fact it was raining, despite the fact there was no power. Like, I was doing the most to stay up with it, and not in a like toxic way of like, I need to train, whatever. Not like that. I don't even think I trained Thursday because I had one session left and that was it. I didn't do any extra sessions or anything like that, but I wanted to make sure I moved my body because I knew I would spiral more without moving my body. And it's so interesting to see which way everyone goes, because my partner didn't work because he couldn't get out the driveway because of the wires, and then he did not do anything. He didn't do any like walking or steps or anything. He barely left the room. He was like freaking playing Minecraft the whole time. That's an ick in itself. We're not going to get into it. Not Minecraft, just the fact he did nothing the whole time. And then he was like struggling to sleep, and like his appetite was all weird, and I was like, it's because you're not doing anything. The worst thing you can do when shit hits the fan is give up on everything you're doing. Like, was it perfect? Was I able to eat exactly what I wanted? No, but I stuck enough that I knew it was going to work. Was it amazing doing all my steps like around the house and like walking in the little undercover area out the front with the fucking rain splashing in at the sides just so I could use my phone and get my steps in? No, but like sometimes that shit just has to be done, because I knew I'd feel better doing that than laying in bed all day. And then I just knew that I would be like over consuming, and then I'd probably scroll. So I literally was walking around reading my Kindle, and I barely would use my phone, but I was using it in those points, like outside. I was trying to like multitask on it. I'll use my phone to reply to clients, walk outside, but actually read my Kindle. And it was actually funny because I was low-key like spying on the Ausgrid workers, seeing what they were doing, getting our power back up. Bless them. I feel like they've gotten a lot of hate and harassment over the time, but to be honest, it's not their fault that a storm happened, and it's not their fault that the wires are up on poles. I saw someone made a TikTok about him getting he worked for Ausgrid, and heaps of people were hating on him about the wires and stuff. Apparently it costs like $100 million every 100 or 1,000 meters of underground cables. So the government would never. So navigating my deficit, I know that I didn't absolutely nail my protein, and I knew I had to go very basic because we didn't have that many groceries and things like that. I literally was eating like scrambled eggs on bread because again, we had the generator on, so I then could finally get toast. If I didn't though, worst came to worst, I would have just had it like fresh without like being toasted, or you can chuck it like on a pan on a gas stove. And then I was having literally just a basic ham, cheese, lettuce sandwich for lunch. Again, bread, all of that's fine. Yes, I had to open the fridge, but like that was fine. And then for dinner, I actually got Thai. And you might be like, how did you eat out in a deficit? And that's like a whole nother story, which I could do, a topic on. But Thai is like such an easy, clean meal to eat out because I literally just get like rice, some chicken, and it has some veg and sauce, and like that's it. It's actually not that crazy, and it fills me up so much. Like in that moment, Macca's and Thai are like 500 meters from each other. Pick your poison. Choose your hard. I think it would be harder to get a meal at Macca's because it's so high calorie, depending on what you get. But if you get a whole meal and a drink and like even a dessert, like that's like almost a full day of eating for like short girls in a deficit. It depends. Deficit's dependent on your height and your weight and your age and everything. But for me, I'm quite short, so my numbers are like lower than the average person. And I just feel like I would not be able to get anything there. And Macca's meals do not fill you up. I feel like you eat them and then you walk away and think like, what did I even eat just now? So pick your hard, choose your hard. I just kept going. I did my steps. I got the Thai. I tracked in the Thai as best as I could, and I called it a day, and I actually felt great. You have to think in these times as well. When you just want to brain rot, when you just want to bed rot, your brain does become brain rot, but your brain is like screaming at you to eat all the food and just stay in bed and all of these things, and you have to fuel it with good food so that you can actually keep on moving. I feel like when I feel like shit, then I want to eat like shit, and then if I eat like shit, I feel like shit, and the cycle just kind of goes round and round. So I had to really push mentally and be like, no, don't say it's too hard. It's not too hard. You can do it. It doesn't need to be fucking perfect. Hannah Montana already debunked that. Nobody's fucking perfect. Just do what you can do and control the controllables. And the controllables is I can control not consuming shit that I know isn't going to make me feel good. And is this to say, oh my God, chocolate's going to make you feel like shit. Oh my God, don't eat it. No, I fucking love chocolate. That's my favorite fucking food. If you knew me, you would know I love chocolate and I would eat it 24/7 if I could. But I knew that if I like binged out on chocolate while I laid in bed all day, I would not feel good about myself and I would get even in an even worse mindset. So for me, it was like really calling myself out, prioritizing self-care, and really deep diving into my mindset. Am I much of a journaler? Not really, but I was sitting with myself a lot and trying to reflect on myself in the moment and really figure out where I was at and what I was needing. So I want to encourage you to find out what self-care means to you. It's not just an everything shower or a face mask. It might not be working out or going for a walk for you, but what is it? Is it cooking, baking, creating meals with your family? Is it reading? Maybe not. Is it taking a walk in nature? Like I know it was hard with what I'm saying as an example because it was raining and stuff, but customize it to what it actually means to you. And it doesn't always need to be the same thing. You might create a self-care routine and think that that is perfect, and then one day it might just not hit. So just make sure that it's something that you love to do that can be easily adjusted and can change. Like I feel like self-care is a journey, figuring out what you actually like and figuring out how you can not be. I think the first step is self-care is not selfish. So figuring out the fact that you're not being selfish by prioritizing yourself and then figuring out what you actually like from there. So some reminders for you is you actually can't pour from an empty cup. So actually taking that time to rest and recharge and nurture yourself. That's why in the moment when I said I was reading my book and then I fell asleep, I was like, okay, it's actually fine. It's fine. Maybe I needed the rest. Maybe I needed to recharge, but also nipping yourself in the bud, I don't know, and calling yourself out. Okay, am I just bed running right now? Or like, it's like your body and mind are fighting each other. Your body wants to get up and your mind's like, no, stay in bed. Like, I feel you. I have totally been there. So I completely get it. And I just try to like address it to myself. I'm like, okay, how am I actually feeling right now? It's like, I honestly probably talk to myself all the time, like in my head and out loud, and just try to like figure out what I'm needing and what I'm wanting. And it's also like addressing those boundaries. If someone's pissing you the fuck off in your family or friends or work, walk away from them, get in your own space. If it's your phone, put your phone down. I love our phones. Don't get me wrong. I love that we can connect and everything, but it's so stressful. I've mentioned this in other episodes. When you work for someone else, they blow up your phone and then you feel like you can't escape. I just honestly feel like you don't get a break from them. So really making sure you set that boundary and put it away. Also, in this time, one last final reminder, stop comparing your best moments, worst moments, highlights, whatever, to others on social media. Stop comparing your self-care routine to others on social media. The reason I'm saying this is because I saw a lot of people doing a bit of like self-care and stuff recently, and they really like romanticize it, which I love. Romanticize your routine, but it doesn't need to be this aesthetic thing. Like, you don't need to have the acrylic nails tapping on the fucking skincare jar. You don't need the $2,000 skincare routine. You guys would die if you knew what my skincare routine was. It's basically non-existent, and I have no shame in saying that. I think everyone uses way too much stuff and just to make a fucking video. It's not all about fucking social media. Take a step back, and this is a reminder for me. Rest is productive. You don't need to be on all the time. You need to prioritize your sleep and actually get mental clarity and emotional balance and be in a place of actually, like, you need to hit your REM and deep sleep. When I'm not in my REM, I feel scattered. I feel like that is like the storm was a blessing in disguise. It's exactly what I needed to just kind of rejuvenate a little bit. Once I stepped back from the victim mentality and thinking, oh my God, my business, like all the annoying things, and I realized all of this stuff, I felt so much better. I felt so much better to the point that I almost felt like I didn't care. And then I caught myself in a moment of like, why are you not caring right now? Why are you not stressing? I was like, no, I already did my stressing. I did 2 days of stressing, which was enough stressing for a fucking fortnight, and it's fine. This is not selfish. I'm doing what I need to do, and this is like literally one of the most important things I found in navigating my 20s. I used to never have a self-care routine or anything like that. I never got introduced to having a hobby outside of our phones. Like, we've grown up with our phones, and if you're like me and you've built a business on your phone, or you work on your phone, like you're a social media coordinator or whatever you may be, or even if you just love making content, it gets to a point where you're giving, and you need to take a step back and take from things in your life for yourself, or spend a moment with yourself. something you need to remember with navigating your 20s is we are learning and evolving. We're never going to be perfect. And I think maybe you're going to cut off friendships. Maybe you're not going to prioritize particular people, and it is a learning curve. And I have this conversation a lot, like especially with girls wanting to upgrade their health and fitness. They're like, some of my friends, don't want to come with me on this journey. They don't want to better themselves. They're still doing bad shit. And I'm like, you know what? You're going to outgrow these people and you're going to find new people. And I think that is so important as well. So I know this was like a whole like overview of like self-care and navigating your 20s and things like that, but I just want you to take a reflection moment after this and think, okay, where am I lacking right now in my self-care routine? How am I actually feeling? Am I on the brink of burnout? Am I feeling really rejuvenated and great? Are there friendships that aren't aligning with myself and my goals? Did I come into 2025 wanting to do big fuck yeah things, and then now I have friends that are kind of fucking that up for me? Because I don't want you blaming your lack of reaching your goals or your lack of success with your goals on your friends, because you are big enough right now to say, okay, I don't actually need that friendship. It's not serving me anymore. And once you walk away from that, oh my gosh, the fucking weight lifted off your shoulders is just going to be 10 out of 10. You can thank me later for that one. Anyway, girlies, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you want to add me on Storygraph and we can do little book chit chats, I'm pretty sure my username is just Jess Hugo. I love that bitch. I love that bitch. Let me know if you have any reading goals for this year. And you girlies, I know the girlies in my world, and the girlies in my world probably have reading goals of like 100. Some of my friends have goals of like 90 plus. I'm jealous of all you bitches. I wish I could. I just can't. But no, actually I could. I just don't prioritize it enough. Honestly, you can do anything you put your mind to if you prioritize it. I'm really calling myself out in the exact moment, and see what I mean about talking to yourself. But yes, if you're into the reading, I'd love to hear what you like reading, what your recommendations are, any of your 5-star reads. I think in 2025 to reach 70 books, I definitely need more recommendations. So I'd love to know what you girlies are reading. So slide into my DMs with that. Lastly, I don't want to just send you on your way telling you 20 things to implement ASAP and then you feeling overwhelmed and lost. So I want you to slide into my DMs and write consistent queen, and I will send you my free. It's free, guys. Why would I sit you up and make you pay? It's free. My free consistent queen routine. It's something that I've set up that's surrounded around basically how I lost my 20 kilos. How I lost 20 kilos, became motivated AF, became so consistent, because I'm not someone that had a self-care routine. I'm not someone that was consistent at all. And I had to implement shit to be in that place. So what did I do? I'll give you a little sneak peek so you can see if it's you. It's not just about training routine. It's about steps. It's about food. It's about how I figured it out to make it less overwhelming and things like that. And it just built so many high levels of consistency in my life, and that is how I am so consistent in the things I do now. So if you want that, slide into my DMs on Instagram, just DM me consistent queen and I will send you the link, and then you can get it for free. It is like the holy grail, I swear. It is such a potent thing. It's short and sweet, but it's so jam-packed, and you get sent through a habit tracker with it for free as well, of course. So don't just think, oh my God, I'm going to get all this stuff and then what? No, you get a free habit tracker so you can write down your goals. You can have days of the week to tick them off. You can track all of the things, which I think is so essential, because part of self-care is being organized. Part of self-care is looking after yourself. And when shit is hitting the fan, what do we need? We need a fucking habit tracker, sis. So slide into my DMs, as I said, and I will send it through to you. No strings attached. I just want you girls to build high levels of consistency and make 2025 yours by being consistent queens. Okay, girlies, that is a wrap on this week's episode. If you're wanting more from me, slide into my DMs with consistent queen. Like I promise you, you're going to have high levels of consistency and think, why the fuck did I not have this sooner? Trust me on that. If you have any key takeaways or book recommendations, also slide into my DMs, because I want them. We need to hit our book reading goals this year. That is all from me. Any questions, you know what to do. That's a wrap on another episode of Navigating Your 20s. Thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed the conversation, vibes, and got something out of today, please feel free to send me a DM with any key takeaways and feedback, or share on your socials and tag me so we can connect. If you liked today's episode and you're wanting more from me, you can find me on all socials at success.withjess.